Going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, April 12th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. We have some major breaking news coming in this afternoon. So it looks like the Iranian strike on Israel will take place in just a few hours. So I will be going live when that happens. And we have the highest priority nuclear attack options being broadcasted by the Pentagon this afternoon. There were some Skymaster messages that were broadcasted. If you don't know what a Skymaster message is, it's an emergency action message, and emergency action messages are nuclear attack options that are broadcasted by the Pentagon and U.S. Strategic Command, the National Command Authority, to our nuclear forces. And they broadcast these messages every single day. But over the last 2 days, we've seen an unusual spike in the number of emergency action messages being broadcasted. And yesterday, we had 150 emergency action messages. Okay. Now, today, we have a Skymaster message that was broadcasted by the Pentagon, by the National Command Authority, to our nuclear forces here in the U.S. Okay. This is the highest priority message for nuclear forces in the United States. Okay. So when one of these messages goes out over the radio waves, the operators of the ballistic missile submarines, the Ohio class subs, the operators of our bombers, and the operators of our Minuteman missiles, when they hear that, that's like code red. That's the highest level of alert. Our nuclear forces are at max alert right now. Okay. So this is extremely serious, guys. We could be on the verge of nuclear war. And a few days ago, I shared a screenshot of all these Russian doomsday planes that took off from Moscow and went to Siberia. Okay. So this is not a joke, guys. This is not fear mongering. There's been a lot of people over the last few weeks saying, oh, nothing's going to happen. This is just fear mongering. This is clickbait. Well, all you people out there that said that, you must feel really stupid now, don't you? You probably feel really stupid, and you're going to be crying when this escalates and you're not prepared. Want to just update you guys with some of the latest information that I have. So, senior U.S. officials told CBS News that they believe an Iranian attack against Israel will take place in the next few hours, and that the attack would involve more than 100 drones and dozens of missiles targeting military installations in Israel. Okay, so senior U.S. officials tell CBS News that they believe an Iranian attack against Israel will take place in the next few hours. Okay? This is not NYPrepper saying this. This is not my speculation. This is the facts, Jack. If you don't like it, don't watch my videos, okay? And the White House says it's watching the Iranian threat very, very closely and is in constant communication with Israel. The IDF and Mossad have approved attack plans against Iran, according to Ynet News. So that's very serious. And the Israeli Prime Minister is convening the Israeli War Cabinet and senior Israeli defense officials this afternoon, local time, to discuss Israel's readiness for an Iranian response. An Israeli official with knowledge of the matter told CNN. So this is very, very serious, guys. The Israeli Prime Minister's office will hold an emergency briefing for the directors of Israel's government ministries. Khan News is reporting that the session will be dedicated to the imminent threat of Iranian attack. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a massive 30% discount on their 1 week emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link in the description below this video, which is preparewith NYPrepper.com. The normal price for their 1 week freeze-dried emergency food supply is $80. They're knocking it down to $50 for 1 week of emergency food with a 25-year shelf life, and it's all packed into a small lockable ammo can with a waterproof gasket. They also have a general store, and to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithNYprepper.com. And their general store has everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always doing discounts. So check it out. Use the link preparewithNYprepper.com to get over 35% off of the My Patriot Supply 1 week emergency food supply, and also to get access to their general store. And they're always doing discounts there. I'll leave the link in the description below this video. The Israeli Minister of Transportation has met today with the directors of public transport companies across the country, including airports, trains, and metro services, to ensure their readiness for an Iranian retaliatory strike. Okay, so the Israeli government is preparing their mass transit for an Iranian strike. And we currently have 2 nuclear war command and control planes in the air. And there was also a doomsday plane that was flying with its transponder off over Kentucky. And it has since gone back to Offutt Air Base in Omaha, Nebraska. So this is very, very serious, guys. Okay. I shared with you guys a few days ago all the doomsday planes that were in the air, and people were saying that I'm just fear-mongering, that these planes are in the air all the time, that this is normal, this is just training. Well, don't you feel stupid now? And we have a B-52 nuclear bomber airborne over Colorado. It just took off from Barksdale Air Force Base. Okay, so our nuclear forces are on high alert, guys. When a Skymaster message goes out, that's very, very serious. It's the highest priority message for our nuclear forces. So our nuclear forces are on maximum alert. And I want to read to you guys some tweets from Marco Rubio. He's been tweeting all day today and yesterday about the situation, and what he tweeted is very chilling. So this morning he wrote, barring some last-minute development, Iran is going to attack Israel. The response and risk of escalation will depend on what and how they attack. So once again, this is not NYPrepper fear-mongering. This is not NYPrepper speculating. This is Marco Rubio, who is on a committee for intelligence in the U.S. Senate, and he's a senior member of the Foreign Relations Committee. Okay, he has access to all kinds of intelligence, and he's part of the Gang of Eight. Okay, saying that barring some last-minute development, Iran is going to attack Israel. And he tweeted yesterday, if Iran and their regional proxies launch a combined attack on Israel, rapid escalation will be very difficult to prevent, and we will face a new armed conflict that will be nearly impossible to contain. Okay, rapid escalation will be very difficult to prevent, and we will face a new armed conflict that will be nearly impossible to contain. Guys, you need to make sure you have a nuclear war survival plan. Okay, you need to know what to do if this goes nuclear. Check out my nuclear war survival videos. You need to have a fallout shelter. You need to know what to do if a blast wave comes through. Okay? And yesterday morning, he tweeted, Iran wants to launch a large-scale attack from their own territory against Israel. Israel will respond instantly, with an even more severe counterattack inside of Iran, what happens next is the most dangerous Middle East moment since 1973. So if you guys don't remember, or if you weren't alive, 1973, the Yom Kippur War, Israel was being attacked by Egypt and all different countries in the Middle East, and Israel had to activate their nuclear forces. Okay, all of Israeli nuclear weapons were put on alert and ready to launch, and they didn't end up having to use their nuclear weapons. But Marco Rubio is saying that it could get to that point where Israel has to use nuclear weapons or activates their nuclear weapons. And I want to remind you guys of what I said yesterday about Netanyahu. Yesterday, Netanyahu visited the Tel Naf Air Base, where he gave a press conference about the situation with Iran, and he said that Israel's preparing for other contingencies besides Gaza, and he was standing in front of a fighter jet. The base that Netanyahu visited yesterday is one of two air bases in Israel that has nuclear strike fighter jets. Okay, the Tel Naf Air Base is one of two air bases in Israel where Israel stores nuclear weapons for their fighter jets and also nuclear warheads for their Jericho missiles. Okay, so Israel has nuclear weapons. They have Jericho missiles, they have F-15s and F-35s that they can load nuclear gravity bombs on. And they also have Popeye missiles, which have 1,000-mile range. And those Popeye missiles are launched from their submarines, and they could also have nuclear weapons. So if Iran gets stupid, they're going to get annihilated. Okay, Israel's not messing around. Okay, same thing with Lebanon and all these other countries. They're going to get annihilated. And Iran sent a message to the U.S. through several Arab countries earlier this week telling them that if they get involved in the fighting between Israel and Iran, their forces in the region will be attacked. 3 U.S. officials told Axios. Okay, so Iran warning the U.S. not to get involved, or Iranian forces and proxies will attack U.S. forces in the Middle East. And the U.S. has officially warned Iran not to attack American targets. The White House has confirmed a change in U.S. force and alert posture across the Middle East, but has refused to go into further details. The Department of Defense is moving additional assets to the Middle East region to bolster regional deterrence efforts and increase force protection for U.S. forces, a U.S. defense official told CNN. And I want to remind you guys that the Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group, which was operating off the coast of Yemen up until yesterday, has now been moved to Israel in the northern Red Sea. Okay, so we have moved an entire carrier strike group to Israel in the Red Sea. Okay, that is huge. And Israeli media is reporting that one option for Israel in their retaliation against Iran would be an EMP attack. Canada, Australia, the US, India, the UK, Norway, and France have put up travel advisories urging their citizens to leave Israel, Lebanon, and Palestine immediately due to the imminent threat of attack by Iran. And yesterday, the U.S. put out a travel restriction for U.S. embassy personnel, restricting them to travel only between Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Beersheba. And India put out a travel advisory today telling their citizens in Israel to stay put and not move around over the next few days due to the possibility of Iranian missile strikes. Okay, so this is very, very serious. And U.S. diplomats have already been evacuated, guys. U.S., British, and French diplomats have already been evacuated from Israel. Okay, Israel is expecting a direct attack from Iran on southern or northern Israel within the next 24 to 48 hours, the Wall Street Journal has reported. citing a person familiar with the matter. Again, this is not NYPrepper fear-mongering. This is not NYPrepper speculating. This is the Wall Street Journal citing a person familiar with the matter. The report said, citing a person briefed by the Iranian leadership, that no final decision has been made yet, although plans for an attack are being discussed. The report also cited a U.S. official familiar with the situation as saying that intelligence reports of the U.S. indicate an Iranian strike within days. Senior White House reporter for Bloomberg, Jennifer Jacobs, posted on social media the following: assessment is that Iran attack could be a missile attack directly from Iran, and government facilities in Israel are the expected targets. The move hasn't been approved by Tehran's highest-ranking officials, but an attack is expected. And Bloomberg is citing U.S. officials and saying that the U.S. is preparing defenses and has moved additional military assets to the region. And Bloomberg is also reporting that diplomatic back channels are in overdrive. U.S. officials, including Jake Sullivan and Brett McGurk, have been working to send messages to Iran, including through an established Swiss channel, one person said, while talking to Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and other governments. French President Emmanuel Macron warned Iran not to attack Israel. And this comes just a day after the UK Foreign Minister and former Prime Minister David Cameron warned Iran not to attack Israel as well. And Biden said on Wednesday that the US would back up Israel, and the US support for Israel is ironclad. And the commander of Iran's northern air defense region said operational units are ready to counter threats, and undoubtedly the enemy will be surprised. And Qatar and Kuwait deny the U.S. use of bases against Iran. Qatar and Kuwait have officially informed the U.S. that their bases on their territories cannot be used for military actions against Iran. They obviously don't want to come under attack from Iran. This decision severely limits U.S. capabilities in the region and could have significant implications for ongoing tensions. So this is extremely concerning, guys. I don't know what to tell you. It's probably a little bit too late to get ready now, because when this happens, people are going to panic. Okay, the situation is going to really escalate and spiral out of control. And if that's not bad enough, we have the New Madrid fault line here in the U.S. waking up. Over the last few weeks, we've had dozens of minor earthquakes in the New Madrid fault, and today we had a 2.8 magnitude earthquake near the New Madrid fault in southeastern Missouri. Look at all of these quakes over the last month near the Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri border. Okay, just dozens and dozens of quakes here. And the last time the New Madrid fault generated an earthquake, I believe it was over a 7.0. It caused the Mississippi River to flow backwards. And scientists are saying that there's over a 30% chance that we could see another massive earthquake from the New Madrid fault in the coming decade. And the FBI director, in a congressional hearing yesterday, warned of a possible terrorist attack in the United States, similar to the attack that occurred in Moscow a few weeks ago. And Japan's Prime Minister Kishida said the world is at a historical turning point, with freedom and democracy under threat around the world, and that the U.S. needs to defend freedom and continue to be the leader of democracy around the world. And he said this yesterday in front of Congress. And Russian military advisors arrived in Niger, and in Japan, a U.S. F-22 apparently crashed at the Kadena Air Base due to the failure of the nose landing gear to come out of the plane. Japanese news, citing eyewitnesses, wrote that at around 10:30 a.m. local time on April 11th, an F-22 Raptor that landed at Kadena Air Base was being towed from the runway with its engines stopped, its nose wheels retracted, and its fuselage touching the ground. So sounds like some minor damage, and hopefully they can fix that relatively quickly. The F-22 is scheduled to be replaced by the next generation fighter jet that's going to be even better than the F-22 that they're building right now. Turkish warplanes bombed Kurdish positions in northern Iraq today. And we also had this interesting flight from Russia into Kaliningrad. This is a Russian Air Force heavy transport plane comparable to one of our C-5 Galaxies. It can carry 40 tons of cargo. Okay. What is Russia doing moving 40 tons of cargo into Kaliningrad? Okay. I've been warning you guys for weeks now that Belarus is going to attack Lithuania. Germany is going to send a robust brigade of 4,000 troops to Lithuania now to protect Lithuania. Belarus has moved mechanized brigades to within just a few miles of the Lithuanian border, and they've positioned themselves right on the main road, the main highway that goes from Belarus to the capital of Lithuania, Vilnius. That's exactly what Belarus and Russia did before they invaded Ukraine. They stationed all their equipment just north of the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, in southeastern Belarus in the city of Gomel. They stationed a bunch of tanks and armored vehicles right on the highway that goes into Kiev, and they're doing the same thing now with Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania, which is only 20 miles from the Belarus border, and there's no NATO forces there to stop Belarus and Russia from going in and taking the capital. Okay, the Belarusian military has been placed on combat alert. It's been on combat alert since last month. Russia is doing naval exercises in the Baltic Sea right now, and they've placed their Baltic fleet on high alert. So this could all pop off at the same time. Iran could strike Israel, and things could escalate there with the U.S. getting involved. And while that's happening, Russia and Belarus could make their moves in Eastern Europe. Belarus could go after Lithuania. Russia could push through the front lines in Ukraine and take massive swaths of territory. Now that the Ukrainian military has exhausted their ammunition and their manpower. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on this evening with more updates. And if this kicks off, I will go live. And don't rely on the YouTube notifications because YouTube doesn't always send out notifications. So don't rely on them. Periodically check my channel throughout the day. And the easiest way to do that is in the search box on YouTube, type at NYPrepper. Don't just type NYPrepper, because lately my channel hasn't been showing up at the top of the search results. You got to scroll down through like half a dozen unrelated videos to find my channel. So to easily find my channel, just type at, like, you're typing an email, at NYPrepper, one word, at NYPrepper, no spaces, and my channel will pop right up because that's my channel handle. And also you can just type in youtube.com/NYPrepper and that'll pull up my channel right away. But if anything happens, I will go live. But U.S. nuclear forces are on maximum alert. Skymaster messages have gone out this afternoon, and this comes just a day after we heard over 150 emergency action messages, nuclear attack options broadcasted in a 36-hour period, which has to be a record. I mean, I haven't heard that many in such a short period of time since I've been monitoring them over the last few years. So top off your preps. Make sure you have your nuclear war survival plan. Make sure you have your bug out bag packed. Make sure you get everything you need now: food, water, ammunition, supplies, because as soon as this kicks off, people are going to panic buy just like they did during COVID. So I will be monitoring the situation. And until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Guys, the world is getting crazier by the day. We're on the verge of World War III. The US is drowning in trillions of dollars in debt. Inflation is at an all time high, and there's no end in sight. So, you need to prepare your finances for the future with precious metals. Precious metals are a great way to protect your hard earned savings and retirement against inflation and the uncertainty of the stock market. Also, precious metals are good to have for the purposes of preparedness, to be able to barter with people for essential supplies if the grid goes down. Every prepper should have at least a small amount of silver coins. The company I trust for my precious metals is Midas Gold Group. Text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information on precious metals. Midas Gold Group is 100% veteran owned and supports veterans through the Wounded Warrior Project. Midas Gold Group will work with you to convert part of your retirement savings into gold or to set up a gold IRA. And unlike many precious metals dealers, Midas Gold Group offers precious metals in small denominations, which is great for preparedness, so you have something tangible to use for bartering when the grid goes down. Precious metals have continuously risen in price over the past 100 years and are considered a safe investment. So text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information and to get started today.